All right, everyone. So I want to welcome you to the 5th Annual Graduate Research Showcase at the University of Washington, Tacoma. Really thrilled that you're all here. It's a great turnout, and thank you for supporting all the graduate students. You're in for a real treat tonight. My name is Johanna Jacobson Kujuman. I'm a reference and instruction librarian here, and it's an honor to be coordinating the event for the first time. All right, the Graduate Research Showcase offers graduate students two ways to share their big ideas. Inspired by TED and an event called Scholars Studio held at the Allen Library at UW Seattle, TacTalks are short talks about research that UW-T graduate students are passionate about and want to share with you all. Students are also presenting their work in the form of a poster session, set up in the back there, held after the talks and during the reception, and you don't want to miss those posters, and they'll be there to answer your questions. The philosophy behind the event is that our students have ideas worth spreading, and that our students not only want to be boundless, but they want to be heard. This is their opportunity to realize that potential. The theme this year is disruption, and you'll see we have presentations ranging from racial literacy to climate change to neurodiversity. I believe you'll all be impressed and engaged with the work of our fantastic students. Most of all, though, this event is conceptualized as a way of connecting within our robust learning community. It's also meant as a way to have fun. We hope this event encourages you to engage on a conceptual level with the theme of disruption, and on a personal level with the theme of connection and creating a space of learning across research interests. Given that the theme is disruption, there might not always be a sense of comfort in this room. And feel free to get up as needed and take the time you need for self-care if some of the discourse is challenging for you. And perhaps we find ourselves here in a brave space, not necessarily a safe one, but take the time you need to take care of yourself. Here comes the long list of thank yous. I want to acknowledge the campus units and people who made the event possible. The Graduate Research Showcase Planning Committee this year included the library's Justin Wadland and myself, with special help tonight from Megan Saunders. Jeff Fitzgerald from the Teaching and Learning Center provided invaluable skill and support, especially in working with our fabulous students. Ricky Thompson, Larry Knopp, and Karen Dulesky from the Masters of Arts and Interdisciplinary Studies program were also central to the planning for this process, and many of Larry's and Ricky's MIS students are participating today. Thanks also to Tim Bostel from the library, who helped me 3D print some stuff in your swag bag, which is just kind of fabulous, and to several graduate students who work at the library who are just integral to the event tonight. We also want to thank our sponsors and collaborating campus units. The UW-Tacoma Library, with special thanks to our director, Lauren Presley, who is here this evening, the Teaching and Learning Center, the Office of Research, especially Turan Kayaolu, this is why we have the space here tonight, UW-Tacoma IAS, and the UW Graduate School that contributed this year, as they have in the past, to cover expenses for refreshments. And special thanks to Kelly Edwards for that. The formatting on this slide is terrible, and I apologize. We wanted to especially thank the faculty members who mentored our graduate students and to acknowledge their work in helping the students pursue those sparks of interest that you will see discussed tonight. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for tonight. Jill Purdy, UW-Tacoma's Executive Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, will share some remarks to launch our event today. Jill? Thank you so much.
I know you didn't come here to hear me, so I will keep it brief, but I am honored to be asked to welcome you and have a few remarks tonight. This is so exciting to me. As it says, I'm the EVCAA all of, 17 days now? Something like that. I am a professor of management and have been on the faculty here since 1994, so before this building existed. And I've seen a lot of disruption in that time. And the thing I reflect on when I think about disruption is that it has two sides. I'm sure many of you have seen the images of Kilauea erupting and the lava coming up through the seams in the ground. That's one form of disruption. Many of you have probably taken advantage of online learning and opportunities to use the internet to explore. That's a different kind of disruption. right? So disruption has a negative aspect in that it requires us to think differently and do things differently. But those things that are changing are not necessarily always bad. They're often a mixed bag. And I think the collection of presentations we have tonight is a wonderful reflection of those two faces of disruption. Many of the projects illuminate challenges, social problems, issues that are difficult and stressful and problematic and unjust. And we need to accept them. We need to accept that what we do here as scholars and as researchers is going to reveal some pain points for us, socially, environmentally, in all different ways. But those also create opportunities. And I think that's what's really exciting about the work that you're doing and presenting this evening, is that idea that out of this framing of a problem, out of this acknowledgement of a series of challenges, there are also solutions, some of which are yet to be fully envisioned, some of which have begun to be carried out, and we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's the real excitement for researchers and scholars, and the room is full of them tonight, to know that there's an incredibly valuable, important place for us in this world as people who want to think deeply, inquire deeply, to find out what the shape of those problems is, what the shape of the solutions might be, and disrupt the world that we have now, because it's not perfect, but it's the world that we have. So welcome. Thank you all for being here. I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jill. We appreciate you being here. To get you oriented for the rest of the evening, you have a program, but there's going to be 4 speakers speaking for 5 minutes apiece. Then there's going to be a collective Q&A of about 15 to 20 minutes where you can ask questions of all the speakers, and please do. We want to have dialogues tonight. Then there's going to be a second round of talks, 4 speakers, a second round of Q&A, a concluding remark for me, basically thank you for coming, but and then the poster session and the reception out in the hall that will have some drinks and some nibblies. So that's kind of the setup. The Office of Research asked me to let you know that the emergency exit is that way, and the facilities are out that way. When you leave the event, please exit through the front door. And finally, you, the audience, have an important role to play tonight. The purpose of the TacTalks is not just learning about the research your students, our graduate students are doing, but for you to share feedback with the speakers. And most of you should have feedback forms that are ordered in the order of the presenters that we will be passing on to them. So any comments you have would be greatly appreciated for the students. Since this program is in its 5th year now, we also have what color is it? A blue survey that would help us as we, thank you, Karin, as we plan the event and move into the future. Any feedback is appreciated. We have a drop box up front where the pens and all the feedback can go into. And note that the talks are being recorded. They'll be archived and be available online via UW-Tacoma Library's Digital Commons. So that's pretty exciting as well. So that's all I need to share with you right now. We welcome you, and I want to welcome our first speaker to the stage.